My beloved child, stop scrolling for just a moment and listen carefully to me. This is not an accident. This is not a coincidence. You did not find this message by chance. I have been calling your heart for longer than you realize, and today I need you to hear my voice clearly. I know what you have been carrying. I know about the burdens you never talk about. I know about the nights when sleep would not come because your mind was filled with worry. I know about the silent tears that fell when nobody was watching. I know about the prayers you whispered into the darkness, wondering if anyone in heaven was listening. You have asked me questions that no one else knows. Lord, where are you? Why is this taking so long? Have you forgotten me? My child, I have heard every single word. Not one prayer was ignored. Not one tear was wasted. Not one moment of your suffering escaped my attention. Even when it felt like heaven was silent, I was working behind the scenes in ways you could not see. There were battles you never knew I fought for you. There were dangers you never saw because I protected you from them. There were doors you desperately wanted opened that I closed because they would have led you away from the destiny I prepared for you. You thought the delay meant rejection. You thought the closed door meant abandonment. You thought the waiting meant I had forgotten. But today I need you to understand something that can change everything. The delay was never punishment. The waiting was never proof that I stopped loving you. The silence was never my absence. I was preparing something greater than you imagined. I was preparing you, my beloved child. The season you are living in right now is not the end of your story. The pain is not the conclusion. The struggle is not your final chapter. What you are experiencing today is only a page in a much bigger story that I am writing with my own hands. I know there were moments when you wanted to give up. Moments when you felt exhausted from believing. Moments when disappointment became so familiar that you almost accepted it as your future. But hear me clearly. Do not surrender now. Do not walk away now. Do not stop believing now, because the answer you have been praying for is closer than you think. The breakthrough you thought would never come is already moving toward you. The door you thought would never open is beginning to move. The healing you have been waiting for is already being released. And the season that almost broke you is about to become the season that blesses you. Stay with me, my child, because what I am about to reveal to you will change the way you see everything that happened. Your waiting was not wasted. Your tears were not forgotten. And your miracle is closer than it has ever been before. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand before we go any further. The enemy has spent a long time trying to convince you that I abandoned you. He whispered it during your hardest nights. He whispered it after the disappointment. He whispered it after the unanswered prayers. He whispered it when the door closed. He whispered it when the people you trusted walked away. He whispered it when the situation became so difficult that you could no longer see a way forward. Over and over again, he tried to plant the same lie in your heart. God has forgotten you. But today, I am exposing that lie. I never left you, not for one day, not for 1 hour, not for one moment. Even when you could not feel my presence, I was there. Even when you could not hear my voice, I was speaking. Even when you thought nothing was happening, I was working. My child, many of the greatest things I do happen in places your eyes cannot see. The seed grows beneath the soil before anyone notices it. The sunrise begins before the first ray appears. The breakthrough starts before the evidence arrives. And in the same way, I was moving in your life long before you recognized it. You measured my presence by what you could see, but I was doing far more than what was visible. While you were crying, I was strengthening you. While you were waiting, I was preparing you. While you were struggling, I was protecting you. There were opportunities that looked good but would have damaged your future. I closed those doors. There were relationships you begged me to preserve, but I could see the pain they would eventually cause. I removed them. There were paths you desperately wanted to walk down, but I knew they would lead you away from the purpose I designed for your life. So I redirected your steps. At the time, it felt painful. At the time, it felt unfair. At the time, it felt like silence. But now I want you to see it through my eyes. What felt like rejection was often protection. What felt like delay was preparation. What felt like loss was redirection. You were never walking through those valleys alone. When you sat awake wondering how you would survive another day, I was sitting beside you. When your heart broke under the weight of disappointment, I was holding every broken piece. When fear told you that you would never recover, I was already preparing the healing. My beloved child, there were moments when you almost gave up, moments when you questioned your worth, moments when you wondered if your prayers were reaching heaven at all. Yet somehow, you kept moving forward. Do you know why? Because I was carrying you. The strength you thought was yours was actually coming from me. The peace that occasionally appeared in the middle of chaos was coming from me. The hope that refused to completely die inside your heart was coming from me. I was closer than your next breath. I was nearer than the tears on your face. I was standing beside you in every battle, even when you could not recognize me. And now, as you look back, I want you to stop viewing your story through the lens of pain alone. Begin to see my fingerprints. See how I protected you. See how I guided you. See how I sustained you. See how I kept you alive through situations that should have destroyed you. You are still here for a reason. You are still standing for a reason. You are still believing for a reason. Because I never left you in the dark. Even in your darkest season, my hand remained upon your life. And now, my child, the same God who carried you through the darkness is preparing to show you why the darkness was necessary. The story is not over. In fact, what I have prepared for you is only beginning. My beloved child, I know there were many moments when you looked toward heaven and asked the same painful question. Why is this taking so long? You prayed, you believed, you waited, yet the answer seemed delayed. Days became months, months became years, and little by little, a dangerous thought began to grow inside your heart. Perhaps God is displeased with me. Perhaps I did something wrong. Perhaps this delay is punishment. My child, listen carefully to me. The delay was never punishment. It was preparation. The enemy wanted you to interpret the waiting as rejection, but the truth is very different. I was not withholding blessings from you. I was preparing you for blessings that required a stronger version of you. There are things I promised you that could not be entrusted to the person you were before. The future I designed for you required greater wisdom, greater patience, greater faith, greater dependence on me. And those qualities are not formed in moments of comfort. They are formed in seasons of waiting. You see, my child, if I had answered some of your prayers immediately, you would have celebrated the blessing but missed the transformation. And transformation has always been my first priority. I care about what I am doing in you even more than what I am doing for you. Think about the seed buried beneath the ground. For a long time it appears as though nothing is happening. No growth, no movement, no visible progress. Yet beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is developing. A foundation is being established. The hidden season is preparing the visible season. And that is exactly what I have been doing in your life. While you thought I was delaying the promise, I was strengthening the roots. While you thought I was silent, I was building the foundation. While you thought I had forgotten, I was carefully arranging details that would eventually work together for your good. My beloved child, remember Joseph. He received a dream, but he did not immediately receive the palace. There was a pit. There was betrayal. There was slavery. There was prison. Years of waiting separated the promise from the fulfillment, but every delay was shaping the leader he would become. Had he received the throne too early, he would not have been ready to carry its responsibility. Remember David. He was anointed king while still a shepherd boy, yet years passed before he wore the crown. Why? Because the waiting was preparing the king. The battles were building the strength. The wilderness was teaching dependence. The delay was never punishment. It was preparation. And the same is true for you. The season you have been struggling through has been accomplishing more than you realize. It has taught you lessons success could never teach. It has taught you compassion. It has taught you perseverance. It has taught you how to trust me when there was no visible evidence. Those lessons will become priceless in the season ahead. One day you will look back and understand why certain doors remained closed. You will understand why certain opportunities disappeared. You will understand why some relationships ended. You will understand why I asked you to wait. Because what I was preparing for you was greater than what you were asking for. I was not merely answering a prayer. I was building a future. I was aligning people, opportunities, timing, and circumstances. I was orchestrating details you could not see. My child, There are blessings that arrive quickly, but there are also blessings so significant that they require divine timing. The greater the assignment, the deeper the preparation. The greater the calling, the longer the refining. The greater the harvest, the stronger the roots must become. That is why you must stop measuring my faithfulness by the speed of the answer. I am faithful even when you are waiting. I am faithful even when you cannot see progress. I am faithful even when heaven feels quiet. The delay was never evidence that I abandoned you. It was evidence that I was working on something bigger than you could understand at the time. And now, my beloved child, the season of preparation is producing fruit. The lessons have not been wasted. The tears have not been wasted. The waiting has not been wasted. Everything you walked through has been shaping you for what is coming next. So do not regret the journey. Do not resent the waiting. Do not despise the process, because one day you will realize that the delay was one of the greatest gifts I ever gave you. The blessing is closer now than it has ever been before, and when it arrives, you will finally understand that I was not making you wait because I wanted to punish you. I was making you ready for something far greater than you imagined. My beloved child, there were moments when you thought you would not make it. Moments when the pressure felt unbearable. Moments when your heart carried so much disappointment that you wondered how much more you could endure. You looked at your circumstances and saw only loss. You looked at your struggles and saw only pain. You looked at your wounds and saw only damage. But today I want you to see something you could not see while you were living through it. What almost broke you was actually building you. The enemy wanted those experiences to destroy your faith. I used them to strengthen it. The enemy wanted those disappointments to make you bitter. I used them to make you wiser. The enemy wanted those failures to convince you that you were finished. I used them to prepare you for a greater beginning. My child, there is a version of you that existed before the struggle began, and there is a version of you that exists now. You are not the same person. The person you were before may have depended on comfort. Now you have learned how to trust me in uncertainty. The person you were before may have relied on what was visible. Now you have learned how to walk by faith. The person you were before may have easily given up. Now you know how to endure. You call it surviving. I call it becoming. Because while you were focused on what was happening around you, I was focused on what was happening within you. I was building strength that could not be shaken. I was building faith that could survive storms. I was building wisdom that could guide others. You did not realize it at the time, but every battle was developing something valuable inside your spirit. Every tear carried a lesson. Every setback carried a purpose. Every disappointment carried a hidden gift. My beloved child, gold is refined through fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Strong trees grow because they withstand storms, and strong faith is developed through seasons of testing. If everything had always gone according to your plans, you would never have discovered how much strength I placed inside you. If every door had opened immediately, you would never have learned patience. If every prayer had been answered instantly, you would never have learned trust. The struggle revealed qualities that comfort could never produce. That is why I need you to stop viewing your painful seasons as wasted seasons. Nothing was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the disappointment, not the waiting, not the tears. I was working through every moment. Even when your heart was breaking, I was building something beautiful beneath the surface. Even when your confidence was shaken, I was teaching you to find your identity in me instead of in circumstances. Even when people misunderstood you, abandoned you, or overlooked you, I was teaching you that my approval is greater than human acceptance. My child, one day you will look back and realize that the seasons you wanted to escape were actually the seasons that transformed you the most. You will see how the pain developed compassion. You will see how the struggle created resilience. You will see how the waiting deepened your faith. You will see how the battles taught you to depend on me. And you will understand that what seemed like destruction was actually construction. I was building a stronger foundation. I was building deeper roots. I was building greater character. I was building the person needed for the assignment ahead. Because the future I have prepared for you requires more than talent. It requires maturity. It requires wisdom. It requires faith. And those things are often forged in the difficult seasons. The enemy thought he was defeating you, but every attack only pushed you closer to the person I created you to become. Every obstacle became a training ground. Every setback became preparation. Every challenge became an opportunity for growth. You may not feel stronger right now. You may still carry scars from what you endured. But look how far you have come. You are still standing. You are still believing. You are still praying. You are still moving forward. That is proof that I have been sustaining you all along. And now, my beloved child, the strength that was developed in secret is about to be revealed in public. The faith that was built in darkness is about to shine in the light. The lessons learned through pain are about to become blessings for others. Because your story was never meant to end in brokenness. Your story was meant to become a testimony that proves my grace is greater than failure, my power is greater than fear, and my purpose is greater than any struggle you have faced. So lift your head, take courage, and remember this truth whenever doubt tries to return. What almost broke you was actually building you for the incredible things that are still ahead. My beloved child, there is something you need to understand about the battles you have faced. Not every attack came because you were weak. Not every storm came because you failed. Not every hardship came because you were abandoned. In fact, many of the fiercest attacks came because of something the enemy saw that you could not yet see. He saw your potential. He saw your purpose. He saw the future I placed inside you. And he was afraid. The enemy attacked what he feared most. He did not waste his energy on what was insignificant. He targeted what carried value. He fought what carried purpose. He resisted what carried destiny. My child, have you ever wondered why certain seasons felt unusually difficult? Why the opposition seemed relentless? Why every time you tried to move forward, another obstacle appeared? Why every time you began healing, something tried to pull you backward? It is because there was something precious inside of you that the enemy wanted to stop before it could fully emerge. He recognized the calling on your life long before you recognized it yourself. He saw the influence you would one day have. He saw the people you would encourage. He saw the lives you would touch. He saw the testimony that would come from your story, and he wanted to silence it before it could be heard. But what he failed to understand is this: no attack is greater than my purpose. No opposition is stronger than my plan. No scheme can cancel what I have already spoken over your life. The enemy may have attacked you, but he could not destroy what I placed inside you. There were times when he tried to convince you that you were worthless, but I called you chosen. There were times when he told you that you were too broken, but I called you restored. There were times when he told you that your future was finished, but I had already written another chapter. My beloved child, some of the wounds you carry today are evidence of battles you survived. They are proof that you kept going when many people would have quit. They are proof that my hand remained upon your life. Think about it. You have endured things that should have completely destroyed your faith. You have walked through disappointments that should have crushed your hope. You have faced circumstances that should have left you defeated. Yet somehow, you are still here, still believing, still praying, still searching for me. That is not an accident. That is evidence of my sustaining power. The enemy wanted your pain to separate you from me. Instead, it brought you closer. He wanted your struggles to make you quit. Instead, they made you stronger. He wanted your failures to define you. Instead, they became lessons that prepared you. What he intended for destruction, I transformed into development. What he intended for defeat, I turned into preparation. What he intended for evil, I used for good. My child, there is a reason the attacks intensified before this season. There is a reason the pressure increased. There is a reason the warfare felt stronger. Because you are closer than ever before. The enemy often fights hardest when he knows his time is running out. He often creates the greatest resistance right before breakthrough. He often whispers the loudest lies right before the truth is revealed. Do not be discouraged by the battles you have faced. Let them remind you that your life carries significance. Let them remind you that your story matters. Let them remind you that there is something valuable worth protecting and pursuing. The enemy was never fighting your present circumstances alone. He was fighting your future. He was fighting your purpose. He was fighting the person you are becoming. He saw what was coming before you did. He saw the healing. He saw the restoration. He saw the freedom. He saw the influence. He saw the blessing, and he feared it. But hear me clearly today, my beloved child. The same attacks that were meant to stop you have become evidence that you are moving in the right direction. The same battles that made you question yourself have actually been preparing you for greater authority. The same struggles that nearly broke your heart have been strengthening your spirit. You are not a victim of the story. You are part of a greater plan, and nothing the enemy has done can overturn what I have already decided concerning your life. The attacks were real. The pain was real. The tears were real. But so is my promise. And my promise is greater. So stand firm. Lift your eyes. Refuse to surrender to fear. Because the enemy attacked what he feared most. And what he feared most was not who you were. It was who you are about to become. The breakthrough is closer than you realize. The purpose is greater than you imagined. And the future I prepared for you is still waiting ahead. Walk forward in faith, my child. Because what is coming is greater than what tried to stop you. My beloved child, before we continue, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on what you have heard so far. If these words are speaking directly to your heart, if you believe that I have been with you through every battle, if you trust that your waiting season was not wasted, then make a simple declaration of faith right now. Type, "I trust your timing, Lord." Let those words be more than a comment. Let them be a reminder to your own soul that I am still working, even when you cannot see it. And if this message has encouraged you today, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who may be struggling in silence. You never know whose faith might be restored by a single message of hope. Stay with me, my child, because what I am about to reveal next may explain why your breakthrough is much closer than you realize. My beloved child, many people expect breakthrough to arrive with a loud announcement. They expect dramatic signs. They expect immediate change. But often, before the breakthrough becomes visible, there are signs that begin to appear quietly. And if you have been paying attention, you may have already noticed some of them. The first sign is this: you no longer feel comfortable where you used to be. The things that once satisfied you no longer satisfy you. The habits you once tolerated now trouble your spirit. The places you once settled in now feel too small. This discomfort is not punishment. It is preparation. I am creating a holy dissatisfaction within you because I am calling you into something greater. You cannot remain where you are and become who I created you to be. The discomfort is evidence that growth has begun. The second sign is that old doors are closing. I know this can be frustrating. You may have prayed for opportunities only to watch them disappear. You may have expected certain relationships to remain, only to see them fade away. But hear me carefully. Not every closed door is a loss. Some doors are closing because they no longer belong in your next season. I am removing what cannot go where I am taking you. Trust me when I close what no longer serves my purpose for your life. The third sign is that your faith is growing even while your circumstances remain unchanged. There was a time when you needed visible proof before you could believe. Now, despite the uncertainty, you continue trusting. Despite the waiting, you continue praying. Despite the setbacks, you continue moving forward. That is not weakness. That is maturity. That is evidence that your roots are growing deeper, and deep roots always come before abundant fruit. My beloved child, another sign is that you are beginning to see things differently. The same situation that once filled you with fear now produces prayer. The same challenge that once caused panic now drives you toward me. The same obstacle that once discouraged you now strengthens your determination. Your perspective is changing because your spirit is changing. I am teaching you to see through the eyes of faith rather than through the eyes of fear. The next sign is unexpected confirmation. You keep hearing messages that speak directly to your situation. You keep receiving encouragement at the exact moment you need it. You keep noticing reminders that I have not forgotten you. Sometimes it comes through a conversation. Sometimes through a scripture. Sometimes through a stranger. Sometimes through a message like this one. These are not accidents. I am reminding you that I am near. I am reminding you that I am still speaking. I am reminding you that your breakthrough is still on the way. Another sign is that the attacks have intensified. This may surprise you, but often the enemy becomes more aggressive when he senses that his hold is weakening. He increases fear because he knows freedom is near. He increases doubt because he knows faith is growing. He increases resistance because he knows the door is beginning to open. Do not interpret every battle as a sign of defeat. Sometimes it is a sign that victory is closer than you realize. My beloved child, perhaps the greatest sign is this: you are still here. After everything you have endured, you are still standing. You are still seeking me. You are still believing. You are still hoping. You are still willing to trust. The enemy expected you to quit, but you did not. The enemy expected you to walk away, but you remained. The enemy expected your faith to die, but it survived. And because it survived, the foundation is now in place for what comes next. So do not lose heart. Do not become discouraged, because the answer has not fully appeared yet. The sunrise does not arrive all at once. First comes the faint light on the horizon. Then the darkness begins to retreat. Then the morning arrives. That is where many of you are right now. The first light is already breaking through. The darkness is beginning to lose its hold. The season is changing. The atmosphere is shifting. The breakthrough is drawing near. Keep praying. Keep believing. Keep walking forward, because the signs are all around you, my child, and they are pointing toward a future far greater than anything you have imagined. Your breakthrough is closer than ever before. My beloved child, as you move closer to the breakthrough I have prepared for you, there is something you must understand. The greatest battle is not always around you. Often, it is within you. The enemy knows he cannot stop what I have ordained. He cannot cancel what I have spoken. He cannot destroy the purpose I placed upon your life. So instead of attacking the promise directly, he attacks your confidence in the promise. He attacks your mind. He attacks your thoughts. He attacks your expectations. He tries to convince you to walk away from the very thing I am bringing toward you. This is why I am telling you today. Do not let fear talk you out of your miracle. Fear has a voice. It whispers quietly. What if nothing changes? What if you fail again? What if you get hurt again? What if this promise isn't really for you? My child, if you listen carefully, you will notice that fear always speaks the language of doubt. It focuses on what could go wrong. It magnifies obstacles. It exaggerates problems. It attempts to make the mountain appear larger than the God who created the mountain. But fear has never been your guide. I am. Fear wants you to retreat. I am calling you forward. Fear wants you to focus on the past. I am leading you toward the future. Fear wants you to remember every failure. I want you to remember every time I carried you through impossible situations. Think about how many times you believed it was over. Think about how many times you thought there was no way out. Think about how many times you were certain you would not recover. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still moving forward. That was not luck. That was my faithfulness. My beloved child, many people miss their blessings because they allow fear to make decisions for them. They remain where they are because it feels familiar. They refuse to walk through new doors because uncertainty makes them uncomfortable. They hold on to old seasons because new seasons require trust. Do not make that mistake. The comfort zone may feel safe, but it is often the place where dreams slowly die. I did not create you to live trapped by fear. I created you to walk by faith. Faith does not mean you have all the answers. Faith means you trust me even when you do not. Faith means taking the next step even when you cannot see the entire staircase. Faith means believing my promises are greater than your doubts. My child, there will always be reasons to be afraid if you look for them. There will always be obstacles. There will always be uncertainties. There will always be questions. But fear grows when you focus on problems. Faith grows when you focus on me. So when fear tells you that the breakthrough will never come, remember every promise I have already fulfilled in your life. When fear tells you that you are not strong enough, remember who walks beside you. When fear tells you that you are alone, remember that I have never abandoned you. When fear tells you to quit, remember why you started believing in the first place. The enemy desperately wants you to surrender right before the miracle arrives. He wants you to stop praying, stop believing, stop expecting, because he knows that if you continue moving forward in faith, he cannot stop what is coming. That is why the pressure often increases right before the breakthrough. That is why doubt sometimes grows louder right before the answer appears. That is why discouragement often arrives just before the victory. But my child, do not be deceived. The darkness always seems strongest just before dawn. The storm often becomes fiercest before it passes, and fear often screams the loudest when it knows it is losing its power. Today, I want you to make a decision. Stop listening to fear. Stop consulting doubt. Stop allowing yesterday's disappointments to define tomorrow's possibilities. Lift your eyes higher. Fix your attention on me. Trust my timing. Trust my promises. Trust my heart, because what I am preparing for you is greater than what fear is warning you about. The door is still opening. The blessing is still coming. The breakthrough is still moving toward you. And if you refuse to let fear control your decisions, you will soon discover that the miracle you almost gave up on was much closer than you ever imagined. So walk forward boldly, my child, not because fear has disappeared, but because your faith in me has become stronger than your fear. And that is where miracles begin. My beloved child, for so long it may have felt as though every door in front of you remained closed. You knocked, you prayed, you hoped, you waited, yet nothing seemed to move. Opportunities disappeared. Plans fell apart. People said no. Situations remained unchanged. And after enough disappointments, you began to wonder if the door would ever open. But today I want you to hear my voice clearly. The closed doors were never proof that I had abandoned you. They were proof that I was protecting you from what was not meant for you. Not every opportunity was part of my plan. Not every relationship was part of your destiny. Not every path was designed to lead you where I am taking you. Sometimes my love is revealed through open doors, and sometimes my love is revealed through closed ones. My child, there were things you desperately wanted that would have distracted you from the purpose I prepared for your life. There were places you wanted to go that would have taken you away from my best. There were situations you thought would bring happiness but would have ultimately brought pain. So I closed the door, not to hurt you, not to reject you, but to protect you. And now, after all the preparation, all the waiting, all the growth, a new season is beginning. I am opening a door no one can shut. Not because you are perfect, not because you earned it, not because you never failed, but because my timing has arrived. There is a difference between a good opportunity and a God-appointed opportunity. A good opportunity depends on human approval. A God-appointed opportunity depends on my authority. People can block one, but they cannot block the other. When I decide that it is time, no obstacle can stop what I have ordained. No enemy can cancel it. No critic can prevent it. No delay can destroy it. What I have spoken over your life will come to pass. My beloved child, the door I am opening may not look exactly the way you expected. Sometimes you become so focused on one answer that you miss the greater answer standing nearby. You become attached to one plan while I am preparing something far better. Trust me enough to release your expectations and embrace my direction. The blessing I have prepared may exceed everything you originally prayed for. The opportunity may come from a place you never expected. The answer may arrive through people you have not yet met. The provision may come through doors you never thought to knock on. That is because I specialize in making a way where there seems to be no way. Do not limit me to your understanding. Do not reduce my plans to what appears possible in your eyes. I am the God who opens doors in deserts. I am the God who creates rivers in dry places. I am the God who makes impossible situations become testimonies. My child, when this door begins to open, you must have the courage to walk through it. Do not allow fear to keep you standing on the threshold. Do not allow insecurity to convince you that you are not ready. Do not allow past disappointments to stop you from embracing future blessings. You have been prepared more than you realize. You have grown more than you recognize. You are stronger than you think. The waiting season was developing the person needed for this moment. That is why I am calling you to move forward with confidence. Trust me even when you cannot see every detail. Trust me even when the path ahead seems unfamiliar. Trust me even when the opportunity feels larger than your comfort zone. Because if I open the door, I will also provide the grace to walk through it. My beloved child, some doors lead to healing. Some lead to restoration. Some lead to new relationships. Some lead to new assignments. Some lead to blessings you cannot yet imagine. But every door I open carries purpose. Every door I open carries provision. Every door I open carries the possibility of transformation. So stop staring at the doors that closed. Stop mourning what I removed. Stop wishing for seasons that have already ended. Lift your eyes. Look ahead. A new chapter is beginning. The waiting is not forever. The silence is not forever. The struggle is not forever. I am opening a door no one can shut. Walk forward in faith. Step forward with courage, and watch what happens when my perfect timing meets your obedience. Because what stands before you now is not another disappointment. It is the beginning of the breakthrough you have been praying for all along. My beloved child, one of the greatest mistakes you can make is to look at yourself through the lens of your past. Too often, you see yourself as the person you used to be. You remember the failures. You remember the mistakes. You remember the moments when fear controlled your decisions. You remember the seasons when you felt weak and uncertain, and without realizing it, you begin to believe that nothing has changed. But my child, that is not the truth. You are not the same person you used to be. The battles you have fought have changed you. The prayers you have prayed have changed you. The tears you have cried have changed you. The lessons you have learned have changed you. You may not see it clearly because transformation often happens gradually. Just as the sunrise slowly pushes back the darkness, I have been changing you little by little, day by day, step by step, moment by moment. The person who once gave up quickly has learned perseverance. The person who once depended entirely on circumstances has learned faith. The person who once panicked at every challenge has learned to seek me first. You are growing, even when you do not notice it. My beloved child, there was a time when every obstacle felt overwhelming. Now you have survived challenges you once thought would destroy you. There was a time when disappointment would keep you down for weeks. Now you rise again with greater wisdom. There was a time when fear spoke louder than faith. Now faith continues speaking even when fear tries to return. That is growth. That is transformation. That is evidence of my work within you. Do not underestimate what I have been doing in your life. Some of the greatest miracles are not the ones that happen around you. They are the ones that happen within you. The miracle of becoming stronger, the miracle of becoming wiser, the miracle of becoming more compassionate, the miracle of learning to trust me through every season. You prayed for change, and while you were waiting for circumstances to change, I was changing you. I was shaping your character. I was strengthening your spirit. I was preparing your heart, because the blessings ahead require a different version of you than the person who began this journey. My child, stop speaking to yourself as though you are still trapped in yesterday. Stop identifying yourself by old wounds. Stop allowing past failures to define your future. Those chapters are not your identity. They are part of your testimony. You are no longer who you were when this season began. You have survived too much, learned too much, grown too much, and matured too much to remain the same. The old version of you focused on limitations. The new version of you is learning to focus on possibilities. The old version of you saw closed doors and gave up. The new version of you trusts that I can open better ones. The old version of you questioned your value. The new version of you is beginning to understand how deeply loved you truly are. So stand tall, my beloved child. Walk with confidence. Speak with faith. Pray with expectation. Because the person stepping into this next season is not the same person who entered the last one. You have been refined. You have been strengthened. You have been prepared. And now the growth that happened in secret is about to become visible. The old chapter is ending. The new chapter is beginning. And you are ready for it more than you realize. My beloved child, after everything you have heard today, after every lesson, every promise, every reminder of my faithfulness, you now stand at an important moment, a moment of decision, not because I am forcing you, not because I am demanding perfection, but because every new season requires a response. You cannot step into the future while holding tightly to the fears of the past. You cannot embrace the blessing while continuing to believe the lies that once kept you trapped. You cannot walk through the door I am opening if you refuse to leave the room I have called you out of. This is your moment to decide what voice you will follow. Will you continue listening to fear? Or will you trust my promises? Will you continue focusing on what went wrong yesterday, or will you believe that I am able to create something beautiful tomorrow? Will you continue carrying burdens I never asked you to carry, or will you place them into my hands? My child, I know that trusting me is not always easy. I know there are still questions you cannot answer. I know there are still details you cannot see. But faith was never about having all the answers. Faith is choosing to trust me before the answers arrive. Faith is taking the next step even when the entire path is not visible. Faith is saying, Lord, I do not understand everything, but I trust your heart. That is the decision standing before you today. Not a decision between certainty and uncertainty, but a decision between fear and faith. One path keeps you looking backward. The other leads you forward. One path keeps you trapped in old disappointments. The other opens the door to new possibilities. One path is controlled by doubt. The other is guided by trust. My beloved child, the future I prepared for you begins with a simple yes. A yes to trusting me. A yes to releasing the past. A yes to believing that your story is not over. A yes to stepping forward even when your knees still tremble. You do not need to be fearless. You only need to be willing, because courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to move forward despite it. Today, I am inviting you to make that choice. Leave the fear behind. Leave the regret behind. Leave the old chapter behind. Lift your eyes and step forward, because the season of waiting is ending. The season of breakthrough is beginning, and the next chapter of your story starts with the decision you make right now. Trust me, my child. Take my hand, and let us walk into it together. My beloved child, there will come a day when you look back on this season with different eyes. A day when the confusion will be replaced with clarity. A day when the questions that once filled your heart will finally make sense. And on that day, you will understand why you had to wait. You will understand why some doors remained closed. You will understand why certain people left your life. You will understand why some prayers were not answered the way you expected. You will understand why the journey took longer than you planned. Right now, you can only see a few pieces of the puzzle, but I see the entire picture. I see every connection, every detail, every moment that had to happen exactly when it did. My child, if I had shown you everything from the beginning, you would not have needed faith. But faith is what carried you through the process. Faith taught you to trust me when you could not trace me. Faith taught you to keep walking when the road disappeared into the fog. Faith taught you that my goodness is not determined by your circumstances. One day, you will see that the delay protected you. The struggle strengthened you. The waiting prepared you, and the pain transformed you. What felt like a setback was often a setup. What felt like rejection was often redirection. What felt like silence was often preparation happening behind the scenes. You will realize that I never wasted a single tear. I never wasted a single prayer. I never wasted a single moment of your journey. Everything was being woven together for a purpose greater than you could understand at the time. So today, my beloved child, release the need to understand everything right now. Release the pressure to figure it all out. Release the fear that nothing good is coming. Trust me with the chapters you cannot see. Trust me with the answers that have not yet arrived. Trust me with the future that is still unfolding. Because I am faithful. I have always been faithful. And I will continue to be faithful. One day you will look back and smile through the tears. One day you will thank me for the doors I closed. One day you will thank me for the seasons that forced you to grow. And one day you will realize that everything I allowed was leading you towards something far greater than you imagined. Until then, keep believing, keep trusting, keep walking forward. Because your story is not ending here. It is only beginning. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts, thanking you for your unfailing love, your endless mercy, and your faithfulness through every season of our lives. Lord, for every person listening right now, I pray that you would fill their heart with peace. Where there has been fear, bring courage. Where there has been confusion, bring clarity. Where there has been weariness, bring renewed strength. Father, remind them that they are never alone. Remind them that every prayer has been heard, every tear has been seen, and every step of their journey is held in your loving hands. Help them trust you even when they cannot see the full picture. Help them release every burden, every disappointment, and every worry into your care. Replace doubt with faith and anxiety with confidence in your promises. Lord Jesus, thank you for carrying us through every battle and for preparing a future filled with hope. Open the right doors, guide our steps, and help us walk boldly into the purpose you have prepared for us. Today we choose to trust you. Today we choose to believe that your timing is perfect and your plans are good. We surrender our lives into your hands and thank you for the breakthrough, healing, and restoration that you are bringing. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. My beloved child, before you leave, I want you to make a declaration of faith. Not because I need your words, but because sometimes your heart needs to hear what your spirit already knows. If this message spoke to you today, if you believe that God has been with you through every season, and if you are choosing faith over fear, then type this declaration in the comments. My breakthrough is coming, and I trust God's timing. Write it with confidence. Write it as a reminder that your waiting was not wasted. Write it as a statement that fear will no longer control your future. Write it as an act of faith in the God who never fails. And if this message encouraged your heart, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may be struggling through a difficult season right now. You never know how one message can restore hope, strengthen faith, and remind someone that they are not alone. Remember, God has not forgotten you. He is still working behind the scenes. He is still opening doors. He is still healing wounds. And He is still writing a beautiful story with your life. Keep believing, keep praying, keep moving forward. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. May God's peace, favor, and blessings surround you today and always. God bless you.